Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more Motorsport Manager. And we just finished the first race of our third season for Archer BMR, and it went okay. We finished 5th and 11th overall, which is not too bad, but hopefully we can start improving that because I would like to at least try and get the #1 position for our team. It might be still tough, but at least we're going to go for it. In any case, the next race we're going to be doing is Munich, which is really the only track that doesn't have top speed as a consideration. Most of the other tracks have top speed as either crucial, at the very least useful. So Munich is one of the few tracks that we have that we face a couple times that is more handling oriented and more acceleration oriented. So we see that here, acceleration and medium speed corners being crucial, as well as low speed corners. We're going to have sunny weather on practice and rain on race day, which is going to make things more challenging. Overall wear is not that high. Tire wear is low, fuel burning is low. So we'll have to see how that goes. But for now, let's take a look at the inbox. We have the results of the practice and the how much it's going to take to repair our cars, which is a very long period of time. Eventually, I think we'll bring that down. And then who won the race. Okay, so let's take a look first off after we continue and get our cars repaired. Oop, we have something that popped up in the mail. Oh, okay, car repair finished. All right, so let's take a look at our improving of parts. So right now we're building a new gearbox, which will take a little over 6 days to complete. We have 23 days to go. So we have plenty of days to get that more reliable. And after that's built, I think I'm going to go for suspension here. Whether or not we'll have it ready for Munich, I'm not sure. But I think it's one of the ones that we could build relatively quickly, so it's possible we'll get it there in time. Whether or not it'll be reliable enough, I'm not sure. But in any case, let's go ahead and get into the improvement of parts. So right now I'm working on suspension and engines for performance. I think I'm going to stop working on this suspension because we just discussed that I probably will be building a new bit of suspension here, and there's no reason, I think, to upgrade that one if we're going to be moving on to this one. And then whatever we build, obviously. So, with that being said, we know that the gearbox is going to be important for this race, so we'll go ahead and start upgrading that. But we are still going to focus on reliability because reliability is somewhat of a concern. All right. With that being said, let's go through our reliability overall. So we're into 50% with most things except for some of the new parts that we have. So with that being said, let's go ahead and back off the engine here and get improvement of the reliability of the brakes and anything else kind of on the low end of reliability. It looks like we're working on all the things that need to be worked on, except again, why work on this if we're not going to be using it? Well, honestly, we may use it, but it's unlikely at this point. So I guess we'll work on I guess an engine here. I'll work on reliability of an engine just to work on something. All right, well, I guess we don't have much to do until we get that part built. As a matter of fact, what I might do as far as the improving parts, I don't know if I want to go full reliability here. I probably should, though, at this point. Yeah, let's just go ahead with that. So let's continue. So I'm just going to advance forward a few days. We'll take a look at the improved parts again. So we're up into the 60% mark with our one engine. I figure we might as well get the reliability up on our other engine, even though it's unlikely that we will be using that in the future. But considering that I've already said I'm going to be working on the suspension next, we'll go with that in mind. And I guess I'll go with this suspension here. And outside of that, we might as well just stick with something else that we already have. So I guess I'll work on the gearbox because we know that's going to be crucial for the upcoming race. And at this point, I think I'm going to back off the improvements in so far as the reliability until we've got the gearbox built. Let's take a look what's in our mailbox. Does he have an industry? Okay, so he's doing stuff with the music industry. So he has a go-kart track. He's got bouncers for that go-kart track, and now he wants to be a musician. So I guess he's already got the bouncers. Why not? All right, so he's been partying with friends in the music industry for a while now. It seems that music is becoming more and more of an obsession for the 20-year-old. So right now, it gives him a marketability increase, but it could become more of a thing for him and become a permanent thing. And that could technically be bad if it distracts him too much. But for right now, it's just a positive, and overall is going to help our team because he's more marketable. Although Mustafa, for whatever reason, is less marketable. And as an overall team, we still have 3 stars, but we've dropped down a little bit in our marketability. I kind of wonder what's going on with Mustafa, why he's suddenly dropped in marketability. There's nothing really here that indicates why he's dropped in marketability. I guess just something that happens every so often. Maybe it's how he finished the last race in 11th and people weren't happy with that. And we've got a scouting report on our driver for a racing series that's not our racing series. All right, well, in any case, let's go ahead and continue here so we get that gearbox finished. All right, and so I don't forget, I'm going to immediately start working on a new part because last time I built the gearbox and I got distracted and I kind of forgot that we needed to work on another part. So suspension will be done in 9 days. So in theory, we'll have 8 days to improve the reliability. Whether or not we'll be able to get the reliability up enough for the race, I'm not sure. Technically, we could do brakes, another level of brakes, and get that up probably more reliable before the race day. But I think it'd be good to have at least one of every category before we start doing that kind of thing. So let's go on to the suspension. And we could just give him a reliability bonus right now, but that's usually, I think, a waste. So let's just go with the stat increase here. So we'll get up to 289, and that will be 8 days before the race. Let's build that part. It'll cost us 800,000, and away we go. Now let's improve the part. So we're going to I'm going to get rid of this gearbox, and we'll start working on the other gearbox, which is actually already at 50%, which is not too bad. So do we just stick with the 10-10 setup here until we get the suspension built? Maybe, because as much as reliability would be really good here, it's also good to get the stats in our cars, I think. At this point, maybe I should back off on the improvement of the engine because more than likely the next thing we're going to build is going to be an engine. So I'm going to stop improving that. And instead, I'm going to work on what to work on. We could work on the brakes just to get them closer to the other brakes, although more than likely we'll be replacing. We could work on one of the new parts that we just got. And I'm thinking actually improving the brakes here that we just got because there's a lot of improvability range there. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that. So there we go. That should be good. And let's go ahead and continue. So we've got race weekend for another series. And at this point, we're at 58% for these two. So is there anything that we have that is below 58% that is something that we're going to be using? As far as I can tell, no. So why don't I back off? Well, the suspension is going to be crucial for this. Usually things that are crucial get a lot of wear on them during the race. So I'm going to work on the one gearbox that we have here and get that up and more reliable. And otherwise, I guess I'm okay with our reliability for the most part. So let's go on. Ooh, okay. Octane Racing have opened a new... Okay, so this is another team there. As a matter of fact, what's our GMA voting? So we've got 4 weeks, and we're going to have another track added on. I would vote for it, but we'll see. In any case, let's go ahead and continue. Why does it keep doing that? This isn't anything I have to respond to. Let's continue. Okay, so that was a World Motorsport Championship race, which doesn't really concern us. Now I'm noticing our staff, we're falling quite behind a lot of the other teams. I'm not so sure if that's something I'm going to address this season. But if we take a look at a staff, both of our mechanics contracts are going to be running out at the end of the season. As a matter of fact, we might want to think about renewing contracts at some point. They both have good potential, though, so it might be worth holding on to them, even though we are behind the rest of the teams. I guess eventually we would be okay. We'll have to see. In any case, let's go ahead and continue here until we've got that suspension built. Now that we have that built, again, I'm going to go right on to building the next thing. And we've already built suspension, brakes, gearbox. So I think the next thing I want to build is engine. And then we'll probably focus on gearbox and brakes. But right now, interestingly enough, even though we just built a gearbox, we are behind a lot of the other teams. In any case, let's go ahead and build this engine. And it looks like 25 to max is going to be the best thing for us. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll build that, and it will happen 5 days after the race, which is fine. We won't have it for this time around, but we're going to go ahead and build that part. And there we go, confirm. Now, we are starting to run low on cash here, but I am rushing a lot of part builds so that we can get our cars improved as fast as possible. We've got another scouting report, and again, another team that is outside our series. Another scouting report here. I think Zampelli is now in our series, so this driver is worth taking a look at. And then our suspension is built. Predicted in the season 6th for driver, I guess. All right, well, go back to the car here, and we're going to need to go into improved parts. And then we're going to need to grab that suspension. So I'm going to cancel the improvement here and start improving that. We're going to go full on to improving reliability. And what else do we want to improve? So I want to stick with that gearbox because it's at 56%. We could stick with the brakes. That's fine. More than likely, the next thing we'll build will be another set of brakes. So maybe we won't want to really work that too much. What about our engines? Well, we could improve that, I guess, get it up above 60%, even though, we'd be replacing it soon, but we want it to at least be reliable. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the brakes here. And we'll get everything above 60% or around about that. All right, let's go ahead and continue again. All right, so we just did a few days there because I want to kind of swap things around because we're working a lot on reliability here. I'm going to take out the 2 brakes now. I'm going to work on one of our engines and our other gearbox. Or alternatively, we could work on the other suspension. Why not? Okay, so that's going to be what we improve for now. Let's go ahead and continue until the end here. All right, now we need to do the parts. So, fitting the parts. Got some new parts here. All right, so we already have this set up where Boris has the best brakes. We do now have a new gearbox, though. So I'm going to go ahead and give Boris the new gearbox and Mustafa the other one. And then over here, we have the new suspension. So I didn't think that would be the case. All right, so we're going to switch it around like that. So again, Mustafa is getting the better suspension, but they're much closer to each other than they were before, at least. Yeah, I mean, it was a difference of almost 40 points versus a little over 20 points. So we've done that. Let's come back into things. So our cars are still... Oh, were we ranked 6 before? I think we were ranked 6 before, so we haven't really improved too much there. Ooh, somebody actually has better headquarters than us now. We're ranked 2nd, and staff were ranked 9th, and sponsors were at 6th. So hopefully those are some things that we can improve, although really what I'm concerned about is our car getting it up there. We're getting closer and closer to the average, in my opinion. In any case, let's go ahead and continue. For our sponsorship bonus, I'm still going to go with 9th or above because I think that is the safer choice. And we already just did part fitting, so let's go ahead and continue. And good to go. Race. So we'll be doing the practice next. And not sure how well we're going to do with this particular race or not. Handling tracks, we tend to do a little bit better, but all things considered, you know, it was predicted to be sunny on the practice day and raining during the race, so I wonder if that's kind of been switched around a little bit. All right, so we'll go ahead and have our 2 drivers, and let's start with Boris's car. So we're going to need a decent amount of downforce. I kind of figured as much. A little too far there. Maybe something like that to start with. And handling, looks like we're going to have to stiffen that up quite a bit. Something like that to start. And then for acceleration, or towards acceleration, something like that to start. All right, so that will be the initial setup. We're going to have a lot of water on the track. And although it will be slow initially, I think the best move is to put wet tires on because it will get really wet here. I'm going to put wet tires on and we'll confirm. And then over here, let's see. So we're going to need more downforce. Maybe not quite as much as we needed the other car, but that looks like maybe a good start right there. And then we're going to have to go the other way with the suspension, softening it up. So that will be my initial setup, and then we'll go more towards acceleration. Matter of fact, I might stiffen up the suspension a little bit. There we go. All right, tire choice again. I'm going to go wet. It'll be slow for that first maybe 30 seconds there, but once it gets wet enough, that will be the right choice. So confirm, and let's continue to the practice. Okay, out. And out. So there goes the water building up very quickly. And eventually those wet tires will be just fine. Now the question is, will it dry off at some point? Doesn't look like it will, but I mean, it's drying off slightly. But it's still raining actively. Alright, so negative here with the gear ratios. Okay, and negative with the suspension setup. That's 2 negatives so far. 1 for Boris's car, 1 for Mustafa's. Tire temps are a little bit on the low end. I'm going to be pushing here. All right, downforce is good. That's nice to hear, because that's usually one of the more tricky things to set up. And once you have that locked in, you know you've got it locked in. All right, so both of them we have downforce good. Okay, what do we got with the water? Yeah, okay. So I might have these guys come in just so that I can get them with dry tires. So we're not going to be going super slow here. Because it's forecasted to be sunny the rest of the practice, and by the time we get in, it will be dried off enough. I kind of learned my lesson from the last race that a little bit of water on track's not going to hurt you too bad. All right, so we've got excellent, poor, okay. Let's send them out. Well, that's not too bad. Excellent is always going to give you a really good modifier. And as I said, once downforce is set up, you're pretty much locked in there. So what we need to divine is, what do we need to do with the handling here? And honestly, I'm not sure, because it's not giving me a clear indicator. We still look like we're kind of in the middle. But we only really have to change the one thing, in my opinion. So what I'm going to do here is make it... I'm going to make it softer, just because that looks like the way we need to go. I'm not going to worry about the change to the speed bounds, and we'll just see how this affects things. So we do need a new tire choice, though. So I'm going to go ahead and go out there on medium tires and send you out. And let's get her in. So excellent, okay, okay. Well, that's perfect. That means that we're going to be even better with her car, or Boris's car, once the race starts. Okay. Now, again, it's kind of hard to say which way is the right way to go. I'm going to soften it up. And again, I'm only going to change the one thing. And we'll see. 84%. Does it get better or does it get worse? So that's what we're going to go with. And again, we're going to go out there, I think, with medium tires. So let's send out. And I'm going to put him on push here. Put her on push. So we're 11th and 12th in the practice so far. It's going to be dry now, so we should have an advantage in the practice. Not that it particularly matters, as it is just practice. Okay, he's hitting the limiter on the straights, boss. Now, I really didn't change anything on their gearing, but they're both saying make the gear ratios longer. Again, sometimes I don't know if you can trust what the drivers say, because I don't know if those are just canned responses letting you know that the gearing is off, or if they're actually telling you legit what they needs to happen here. All right, yeah, we know about that. We got level 2 in the race trim. We might get level 1 on medium tires here. All right, air set up. We already know. We're mostly concerned about the handling. Is the handling better or worse? Because that's the one thing that I changed. We're now first and third. All right. Handling feels too soft. Handling is spot on. So what we did with Boris's car was right. I don't know if what we did with Mustafa's car made it any better or not. We'll have to see. Again, I have to remember all these numbers. I really wish they would carry over the new feature they have where it tells you, or maybe it was always a feature in there, where it shows you how much you've improved things, plus or minus. And I just got an achievement, which I don't think you guys can see, but I think we finished first in practice, which is the first time we've ever done that. So that's why I got an achievement. All right, but again, I think that was partly because they were running the wrong kind of tires there. Let's go ahead and get into things here. So right now it's sunny, but it was projected to rain during the race. Now, we don't have the best forecast center, so it could be... No, I see the rain coming in. So we're going to go with probably the aggressive stance of, you know, burn through the tires quickly. Let's get our bonuses, though. So we're going to take race trim and the risk taker. Confirm. And I'm going to still go with quick fixes here, I think, because we are still probably going to have reliability issues. All right, so now that we've done that, let's go to the car setup here. All right, so I definitely made Mustafa's car worse, but I made Boris's car better. And as a result, I don't think I'm going to mess with anything else. Even though they kind of gave me an indicator which way to move the speed balance, I'm not going to do it. 86% optimum balance is really darn good, and there's no reason, I think, to mess with that. Especially when I'm not going to be sure of what the results are going to be. Now, I'm going to fuel this up, so we're maxed out there. Now, as far as that goes, it looks like what I did is I made it a little softer, and we definitely need to go much, much harder here. And in doing that, it looks like we're also moving the speed bounds towards top speed, which was something he was asking for anyway. So just marginally, but it should help. All right, so I'm hoping that this will dial it in a little bit better. Tire choice, we're going to go with softs, and we'll get that fuel in there and confirm. And as far as driver strategy, I already just kind of mentioned what it was going to be. And I think we're just going to go straight on. You know, the thing here is I'm a little bit concerned if I go straight attack, it might really wear on our parts. But I want to get rid of these tires, and it doesn't seem like we're going to need them for too long here. So I think I'm going to go attack here, and we might even burn fuel as well. But that's the initial setup. I think this is going to be a good point to go ahead and put a cut in the video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.